Folks, is your agent being bribed? I'll tell you what happened to me and then get into the latest home prices and insights for York Region for week ending February 21, 2024. If you want to speak with me about your real estate situation, selling, buying, it's really easy. Up here, there's a link to my calendar. Below this video in the description, there's a link to my calendar. Click on that, book a time that's convenient for you, and we'll talk about whatever's on your mind. So here's what happened to me. With my buyer clients, we're walking through a house. It's priced at about 1.5 million. It's priced a little bit high, but it's in my client's price range. It's the kind of home that they're interested in, so we went to go see it. While we're walking through the house, I receive a text message from the listing agent, and it reads, if your clients pay 1.5 million or more for this house, the seller will give you a $5,000 bonus. I thought, whoa, look at that. So now I'm thinking, what do I do with, how do I spend an extra $5,000? Oh, I'm only kidding. That's not at all what I was thinking. I'm reading this and I'm thinking, wow, that takes a bit of guts, doesn't it? The seller is thinking, because he's offering a $5,000 bonus on top of whatever the commission was going to be, a $5,000 bonus in commission, that I would go to my client who, assuming, I'm doing my job properly as a realtor, I have a fiduciary responsibility to act in the best interest of my client, and somebody that I'm also now building a relationship with, and somebody that we've been looking at houses and, I've gotten to know them, they've gotten to know me. I'm going to look at this $5,000, forget everything about my client, and somehow try to convince them that they should pay 1.5 million and it was already overpriced, and convince my clients that this is the house for them. Is that what the seller's thinking? Of course it is. That's exactly what the seller is thinking. Me or any other buyer agent bringing their client there is going to do. That we're going to just go nuts. Just go nuts the fact that we're going to get a $5,000 bonus and convince our client to buy that. Sellers can do whatever they want to incentivize people to buy their property. That has been going on since the beginning of time and will never end. Sellers have their prerogative. They could do whatever they want. Are there agents that would actually just forget about all the rules, forget about their moral compass, forget about what makes sense and not, and convince their client that this is the house because of that extra bonus? For sure there are. I'd like to think a lot of agents wouldn't. But the seller is gambling on or counting on the fact that realtors are greedy, or people in general are greedy, and that and that buyers are kind of dumb, that they're going to overspend, they're going to overpay for that house, and not knowing that the agent is making an extra commission. So, look, it's not going to stop. The moral of this story really is, though, if you're buying a house and for some reason your agent is really pushing a certain property, really saying this is the one and putting extra pressure on you to buy it, maybe ask yourself why. Hey, thank you to the many of you that subscribed. If you come back every single week, you like this content, and if you're not yet subscribed, consider subscribing. Now, let's get into the numbers. Folks, we're talking about York Region today, specifically Vaughan, Richmond Hill, and Markham for detached properties. It's really hard to understand or impossible to predict where the market is going. Let's get started. So here's a summary here. We've got Markham. What happened here? Look how low the average price is for Markham for detached properties. So we got Markham, Vaughan, Richmond Hill. We're going to start off with Vaughan. 21 detached properties were sold for week ending February 21. 21 properties. it's like dropping. I don't understand. I've been telling everybody for weeks now that we expect sales to be increasing as we get into the spring months, which brings up another point. I'm getting a lot of people talking to me about the spring season. When we talk about spring season for real estate, it is not a calendar season. It is February, March, April, May, or June. June is usually a little bit late, but in those February, March, April, or May, somewhere in there is the beginning and the end of our spring real estate season. We've seen it some months start in February and come April and May, quiet. And we've seen other years where it starts in April and May and continues a little bit into June. So we don't know when it really starts and when it really ends. Somehow I don't think that it started and ended right away, but sales are dropping when we expect them to increase. 21 detached properties were sold. 8 of those were at $2 million or more. That number, the amount of properties selling at $2 million or more, is increasing. Remember, we're talking about Vaughan here. So we went from January 24th, 3 properties, 5, 7, 6, and 8. 8 properties sold at $2 million or more. 8 out of 21 properties, the percentage of properties selling at $2 million or more is really high. An average sold price shot through the roof. Before that, it's pretty steady, a little over 1.7 million. For this week, it's 1,870,000. Compared to last year, 1,870 is 7% higher than where we were this time a year ago. Oh, we made a mistake here. This 2 million or more should be 8, not 6. Median price, it's a little bit lower, but rounded, it's still 0%. So no change compared to a year ago, but it is just under 0% change from a year ago. Now, if we look at the dotted line, looks pretty flat. If we look at the median, it's flat and then kind of maybe coming down a bit now. 21 were sold, 62% of those. So 13 out of 21 sold at list price or more. So there's a high percentage, 62%. And listings, we're listing more than last year, but active listings, although, yeah, sure, it's trending up a bit, not really that much. And months of inventory is increasing to 2.2, but there's a few opposing data here. So months of inventory is increasing, but so it seems prices may be increasing, and that's usually opposite effect. Average days on market looks like it's way lower than what it's been before, which kind of goes against the fact that months of inventory is increasing. Days on market should be larger also, but they're not. They're smaller. So there's a few things happening here. Sometimes tough to explain, but that's the data. That's what's going on. Here we go with Richmond Hill. 20 detached properties were sold. Okay, so you're looking at sales increasing almost on a weekly basis, or let's just say trending up, but not by that much. We have 14, 18, 17, 20. So they're not they're going up by 1 or 2. 8 of those out of 28 sold at $2 million or more. So a high percentage selling at the 2 million plus mark. Average sold price did come down to 1,975,000. So we're approaching 2 million as the average sold price. And if we take away this one, we'll say crazy week where average price was so low. We take away this one, it kind of looks like average prices are trending up in Richmond Hill. Compared to last year, 1,975 is 3% higher than where we were this time a year ago. The median price is 6% higher. Both average and median look like to me they're trending up. 20 were sold, more than half, 55% sold at list price or more. Listings seems to be going down over the last few weeks. They're trending down. Active listings, not a lot of change. So there's not a lot of choice out there. So you've been on the market, you saw the 3 or 4 or 5 properties in Richmond Hill that interest you. It's going to be a while before you see another 3 or 4 or 5 or 6 properties. And months of inventory, Looks like it's trending down. It's sitting at 2.1 months of inventory right now. So here's Markham. Look at this. 22 detached properties were sold. So sales a little bit lower than what we've had over the last few weeks. Remember, I do expect sales to go up, but they've gone down. No property sold at $2 million or more, which is really kind of weird. It's not something that we see. I've got a year on the board. We've never seen it. But on this week, no property sold at $2 million or more. And so average sold price plummeted to $1,584,000. Most likely, this will be one of those weeks that I say, let's just forget this week and continue on to the other weeks here. But average sold price before that was high 1.7s, low 1.8. Compared to last year, 1.584 is actually 1% higher than where we were this time a year ago. I'm going to go back to the chart here. 1.573. We shot up from going forward last year. Let's see if the same thing happens this year. Median price of 1.567, a little bit higher. 0% change really, but it is a little bit higher than where we were this time a year ago. 22 were sold, 68% sold at list price or more. So high percentage selling. It is a competitive market. 43 were listed, and months of inventory climbing slightly, sitting at 1.7 months of inventory. Here's a quick summary. Those of you that think, hey, it's a buyer's market out there because you've heard that word so many times over the last few months, get that idea, I would suggest, out of your head, because it is not a buyer's market. You may in some pockets experience a balanced market, but most likely we're sitting more in a seller's type of market, but we're at the top end of a seller's market here. So sellers/buyer's market really is what you're going to experience out there. Thanks for watching. Have an awesome day.